Okay guys, this is the best that I can do. I have sat in every corner of my house and all of it is bad lighting. Welcome to the video. My name's Naomi Thompson. Thanks for clicking and I hope you stick around. The reason that I thought this would be a good video to do a really good video to do is because we are celebrating Pride Month at the moment. So welcome to any LGBTQ plus people that I have watching this video or subscribe to my channel. Happy Pride. And whether you celebrate Pride or not, I really would like you to stick around for this video and just join in the conversation. I have some things that I would love for you to hear if you are a Christian who finds themselves conflicted within themselves about issues to do with homosexuality. I'm here to give you as a Christian 3 reasons why you should watch Queer Eye, where 5 gay guys do up not just people's apartments but sort of like their appearance, but then also just giving them confidence to try new things, and it's just all round like a really heartwarming show to watch. And you can watch it on Netflix. The members are Bobby, Tan, Anthony, Jonathan, and Karamo, and they all sort of tackle different areas of a person's life. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the actual like show itself or the specific things that they do because I'd like to leave that for you guys to enjoy. I don't want to spoil anything, but I believe I can talk about it without spoiling it, if that makes sense, in case you haven't watched it. And you should watch it. After this video, you'll want to watch it. It's not my intention to offend anyone or to upset anyone. I'm just learning, and I was brought up in a very Christian household, so all of this is still relatively new to me. And I feel like it's still relatively new to our culture, embracing the LGBTQ plus community. And so this is kind of part of what that video is to embrace that community. And Christians, don't click off, please. I want all sorts of people here, all sorts of opinions here. I want a conversation to develop down in the comments below that is obviously kind and thought-provoking. Whatever your position is as a Christian on homosexuality and other sexualities and gender, whatever your view is on those things, I still think there is a place for you to embrace the people of these communities. So, part of the way that you can do that is by watching Queer Eye. This isn't sponsored, I just love the show. So, number 3. Number 3 is just that it's a genuinely good show. Like, there is a lot of crap out on TV or the internet, I guess, since most of us probably don't even watch a real TV anymore. There's a lot of stuff out there which, don't get me wrong, like, it's nice to watch crappy things from time to time, to just like zone out and not care about anything. I think we're all human here. But it is nice to watch a show that is genuinely thought-provoking, heartwarming, like deep and lighthearted at the same time. There's a place for just really good, wholesome shows, and Queer Eye is one of them. Queer Eye is one of those wholesome shows that will leave you feeling like you want to be a better human and thankful that there are good humans out there. There's a lot of stuff that we can watch that can really make us sort of hate humanity and really get depressed about humanity. And I think generally in like the Christian community, I've experienced this almost sadness like about humans and the world. There's often this focus on the fallenness of the world and the fallenness of people and of humanity, and it gets kind of depressing, to be honest. We need to remember to celebrate the good things and to remember that God created this world beautiful, and he created every single human in his image. Even though we might be broken, even though there might be bad things going on, there is still so much good out there. And in this day and age, with all of the depressing things that get shoved in our face from day to day, and I'm not saying they're not important to think about, but it's also good to think about the good things in life. And that's what Queer Eye can help you with, is it makes you remember that, oh my gosh, people can be good. So say your view is that homosexuality is a sin. Even so, how many other shows do you watch that also would have what you believe to be sins in them, like sleeping before marriage, or gossip, or just general nastiness towards each other, or murder, like murder mysteries. What shows do you watch that have those kinds of things in them? Because I know people who get kind of like weirded out by me suggesting to watch Queer Eye to them, but they have no worries watching Game of Thrones. And I'm not trying to come for anyone right now. I'm not trying to come for Game of Thrones. I'm not trying to come for any TV show. But I'm just saying there's a little bit of discrepancies between what people will choose to watch based on sinful content. Whether you believe homosexuality is a sin or not, Queer Eye is wholesome. Game of Thrones is intense and thought-provoking, and I wouldn't call it wholesome. As a Christian, I really challenge you, like, what are you choosing to watch and not watch? What are you choosing to consume and not consume? The Bible actually gives us a little bit of an idea of what is actually good for us to consume and what's not. There's no Bible verses pertaining to TV shows, right? There's obviously. But what Paul does say in one verse that I can't remember, and I'll chuck it up on the screen, I always do this, but he says, you know, all things might be lawful, but not all things are beneficial. So if you are wondering whether something is going to be good for you or bad for you, a sin, not a sin, good content to consume or worldly content to consume, then think, is it beneficial for me? Do I come away from it feeling closer to God, feeling closer to people? But is this show making me really think about deeper issues, or is this show making me swear more? Is it making me more judgmental towards people? Like, what are these shows doing that influence you? Because I know that shows do influence me. I'm a very influenced person, I guess you could say. I really take on the emotions of other people and of other things, and I just absorb it all. So that's something to think about, because if you watch a Queer Eye, you're not going to come away feeling dirty. I can promise you that. You're going to come away feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to love people so badly right now. We can get so tied up with worldly, like the word worldly, because the Bible does use the term worldly, but I think we take it a little bit too surface level. We think anything worldly is like anything the world likes, like rap or short skirts or, you know, really surface level stuff. But that's not what the Bible is actually trying to communicate. Worldly things are bad things. They are things that came in through sin. It's things that bring destruction and badness and drag God's name through the mud. Those are things that are worldly, not necessarily miniskirts. I think we have a tendency to be ignorant as Christians of the world and of what's going on because we're scared of being influenced by it. But there's nothing to be scared of. If you have a strong faith and a connection with God, you need to trust in God and trust in His control over the universe, and realize that watching certain TV shows are probably not going to completely tear you away from God and completely rip the faith from you. Now, there are definitely things in the world that can chip away at our faith for sure, and we need to be able to identify those and step back and go, okay, why is this chipping away at my faith? Is it a valid reason? Is it not a valid reason? We can't just avoid the world, and we can't just avoid bad things, and we can't avoid people who we think are bad, because then where are we going to be light? Where are we going to be love? If Jesus says He's the light of the world and we're meant to be like Jesus, we're meant to go into the dark places. We're meant to meet every single person where they're at and love them and be the light in their life. So my worry is that people have a knee-jerk reaction to anything that has queer in the title, to anything that has gay in the title, and they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to go into a gay bar. They don't want to watch Queer Eye. They don't want to do things like this because they don't want to participate in a worldly thing. LGBTQ people exist. These communities exist. These people exist. Individuals exist. And you can't just decide to ignore a whole population of people. And it's not a small part of the population either. So to ignore it is really ignoring people, and people who God loves. These people cannot change the way that they are. They are born that way. They cannot change. All of the evidence that we have so far suggests so. We need to embrace people as they are. We need to love people as they are and not be scared to go into those places because God has paved the way. Jesus has paved the way. Number 2 reason, the second reason you should watch Queer Eye. What it taught me was that people are multifaceted. Sometimes someone's sexuality, especially if it is different from the norm, from what we expect, from the heteronormative expectation that we have of people, it like takes over their whole identity. And not because of what they have done, but because of people projecting that onto them. You see that as a gay person, and then everything they do is because they're gay, or is gay because they're gay. And can you understand how that just does not make sense? We're all so different, and we all have different parts of ourselves. And something that Queer Eye taught me was, you have 5 gay guys and they're all so different. They've all got their ways that they contribute to life and gifts that I can see that God has given them. All of us have gifts that God has given us. All of us have a way that we can serve this community that has nothing to do with our sexuality. People are more than just their sexuality. And the problem with a knee-jerk reaction to not watching this, to not participating in that, to not talking to that person because they're gay or because they're a sexuality or gender that you don't understand, just completely writes them off as what their sexuality is or what their gender is. And you don't get to know people. You're completely judging them just by one aspect of their humanity. And that's not Christ-like at all. We need to stop with the assumptions. We need to stop with the stereotyping. It really does hurt people. People who are LGBTQ are just as important to our community and our church community as anyone else. They are made in God's image just like you. They fail as humans just like you, and they have amazing qualities just like you. God has created them for a particular purpose just like you. And as it says, we are all one body. We can't say to the foot, be a hand, and we can't say to the eye, be a leg. God has made us all different for a purpose. And we need to start loving people for their differences and accepting people for their differences, because difference makes us stronger, believe it or not. Having differences of opinion and different views of the world and different experiences, different attributes, creativity, all of this makes us stronger and makes the community stronger. And we need to embrace that and celebrate that. That's why I celebrate Pride, because it's a group of people that have so long not just been ignored, but been hated for so long and misunderstood for so long, when they are just as important as any of us. I understand that homosexuality is still a highly debated topic in the church, whether it's a sin or whether it's not a sin. And it's an important conversation to have. But at the end of the day, you don't have any control over someone else's sexuality or what they choose to do with that. You can be kind. You can guide them towards passages of the Bible that you think are going to be helpful. You can love that person. You can tell them your opinion even. But at the end of the day, it's completely up to them, and it's completely up to God. It's not something that you should be inserting yourself into. It's intimate. Our job is to love people, to guide them towards what we think is the best for them, because we love them and because we love God. You start disrespecting someone if you violate, if you push too hard, if you stick your opinion where it is not needed, where it's not deserved, or if you even are forceful. No. Okay, and the last reason that I think you should watch Queer Eye is because it celebrates life. It celebrates the goodness of humans, and don't we need more of that? They repair broken things. They help people to love themselves. These are all things that we as Christians need to be doing. We need to be going into people's lives and not just loving people from the surface, but actually doing things that matter. Going, hey, do you need help with food this week? I hear you're sick. Do you need me to drive you to work? I hear your car broke down. We need to be in there. We need to be loving people where it matters. Queer Eye gets all up in their business. They go into their house, they go into their lives, that they have permission. Permission is needed, but they go in there and they love them at so many deep levels. And that's what we need to be doing as Christians. Loving life and loving people in the deepest sense. This isn't just tolerating. This isn't just not hating. This is, if you have someone in your community who desperately needs love, attention, companionship, then we need to be there for them. That is what Jesus did, and that's what we're called to do. Too many times we get stuck in theology, we get stuck in debates, we get stuck in, is this a sin, is this not a sin, without actually remembering to love others, to go in the hard places, in the dark places. And let me tell you, there has been so much darkness in the LGBTQ community, not because of themselves, but because of the culture that we have created around them. There has been so much hurt. There has been so much hurt in that community. Christians, we need to be very careful about how we respond to these issues that we're faced with, how we respond to these people that we're faced with, these lives, because they are all individuals. A lot of them have been deeply hurt by Christianity in particular, but by just culture and how it is and how it has been towards people who identify differently. You might not know how just your indifference or your ignorance can hurt people. Not like outright hate. You might not be homophobic in that you're scared of them or that you hate people who are different from you, but even just indifference and ignorance can hurt. As I said before, we can't ignore a large part of the population. And I think Queer Eye will genuinely challenge you and help you to see people as the whole people that they are, to see a community that is often filled with so much vibrance and love and acceptance. These are good things, and I think some of us realize that these are things that are good, and that scares us because it's conflicting to those who believe homosexuality is a sin. I don't have much else to say except for a few Bible verses which I really want to finish this off with about love, because it's Pride, and part of celebrating Pride is celebrating love. Ruth 1:16 and 17. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, even if death separates you and me." Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Two are better than one because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Romans 12:9-16. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Colossians 3:12-14. You are the people of God. He loved you and chose you for his own. So then, you must clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Be tolerant with one another and forgive one another when any of you has a complaint against someone else. You must forgive another just as the Lord has forgiven you. And to all these qualities add love, which binds all things together in perfect unity. Micah 6:8. This is what the Lord requires of you. Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. And the last one, 1 John 4:9-11. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and please add to the conversation down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions. Keep it all kind and civil and all that jazzy stuff, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!